2024, Anno Domini. Who would have thought at the creation of time, from before the Common Era to now, we would be discussing an NFL playoff picture with the Houston Texans, the Cleveland Browns, and the Detroit Lions. All of that and more on this edition of the Sports Saga podcast. Welcome. Thanks for spending part of your Sunday evening with us, Brady Kudo and Tyler Clark. As I'm enjoyed some family time with my father and the Kudo side of the family today, in wake of some UMass Dartmouth hockey prep. I happened to find myself keeping track with the NFL playoffs. You've been watching football all day. The game yesterday, I didn't catch the Steelers and the Ravens. I caught the Texans and the Colts. I caught the second half. What a football game that was.
It was.
The best part is that D'Amico Ryans, as much, he's probably not going to win Coach of the Year as much as he probably should.
He should. He may get it
over
now.
Over Stefanski. I'm sorry. I mean, people will
Stefanski,
disagree with that.
Stefanski already won it a couple years ago. But I think, so coming from the only Jacksonville Jaguars fan in the town of Swansea, I died inside when you mentioned that before, as you know. I'm still dead inside, but I have to feel good for. I can't. I'm not that heartless. You have to feel great for the Texans. That they've got to be the most truly out of nowhere team to make the playoff. Well, other than Jacksonville last year, but maybe slightly biased on my end. But that was. I think Stefanski is in the running, but I think Houston making it, you got to give it to Ryan at that point. I'm trying to. The other one, Dan Campbell, is the other one that would come to mind. That I think you can, between the three of them.
I think to be honest, if the Texans did not make the playoffs, I would give it to Campbell. But at the same time, I think they, I think people expected the Lions to be somewhat decent, but not 2-seed in the NFC.
Another team you could throw that coach you could throw that onto is Todd Bowles, because they were expected to be terrible this year without Brady, and they made it too. But it's going to be between Stefanski and D'Amico Ryan.
And I just give because we got to think of right. This was a team. Rookie quarterback, rookie head coach, rookie just about everywhere.
So
this team was in line for the number 1 overall pick in the 2024 draft.
On paper, that is the worst team in the NFL. They knew it going in.
Yeah.
One of them.
Yeah.
C.J. Stroud.
They're up there.
Stroud will be unanimous Rookie of the Year. He should win MVP. Lamar Jackson will win MVP. I think C.J. Stroud, just because of how meaningful he is to that team. They played 2 games without him.
Yeah.
They got killed in one of them, and they barely won the other one in overtime. Maybe it was 3 games. I don't remember. But he won't win it. There's no way he'll win it with Jackson and Purdy, one of the two of them. Probably Jackson.
Well, Goff leads in touchdown, in passing yards, rather.
Goff's not going to win.
Goff's not going to win it. Touchdowns is Dak. He won't win it.
It's Jackson or Purdy, one of the two.
I mean,
it was Hurts's for a while, and then they've been awful. They're getting, as I speak, they're losing 24-0 at halftime to the Giants.
Yeah, which I mean, my dad was just talking about it earlier with me. Like, what have the New York Eagles been? What is going on? Because they've played really, really bad football over the last couple weeks.
Did you just say the New York Eagles?
Philadelphia.
I think you just said the New York Eagles.
I'm going to make sure none of my info was online after that one, right? I mean, don't tweet at me or anything. The Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, the football, honest to God. The
it's
football
been bad.
they've been playing over the last 2 to 3
they
weeks
beat,
has been atrocious.
They beat
And
the
AJ
Giants
Brown,
on Christmas. I think that was it.
and we don't know what's going on with AJ Brown. I mean, he was grabbing his right knee the last I knew.
So it looks like, barring something really miraculous here, that they'll be playing in Tampa next week.
The Eagles, yeah. I mean, right now, so I've got it right up on NFL.com. As it stands right now, the Niners are the 1. We've known this. The Lions are the 2. We've known this.
If Dallas has to lose though first to Washington, they're winning 21-10 right now. Dallas would be 2.
Dallas would be the 2. Okay.
Dallas and Detroit
right,
would be
'cause
3.
Dallas has the tiebreak over Detroit.
Correct.
Tampa,
Dallas isn't going to lose to Washington.
no. Tampa. So it should be San Fran, Dallas, Detroit, Tampa,
Philly,
Philadelphia,
and then that's up in the air.
Right now, the Rams have it.
If the Rams lose and the Packers win, Green Bay slides to 6, and the Rams drop to 7. If the Green Bay loses, the Rams have 6 outright. And then the other, Seattle is still in it.
Seattle, Green Bay, and New Orleans are still in it. As it
correct.
stands right now, New Orleans would get in.
But that's not taking into account the later game times.
Right. If the later game times is just Buffalo, Miami. It's just the AFC.
No, I mean the game's going on right now because New Orleans already played. So it's already.
This is live. They have this. They're up. The NFL.com's updating this.
But live. if Green Bay wins, they're in.
They're in.
That's
a win and in for Green Bay.
If Seattle wins, here's how the tiebreaker goes. Green Bay wins, they're in. Yep. Seattle's in. If they win, Green Bay loses. New Orleans can no longer win the division, but New Orleans gets the wild card if both Seattle and Green Bay lose. And the only thing that can change other than that is the Rams could be flip-flopped with Green Bay. Rams can drop to 7 and Green Bay can go to 6. Either way, Detroit has a demon to slay in the first round because they're either getting Matthew Stafford or they're getting Green Bay.
That may be the toughest one. I'm going to write out the we'll start with the AFC for our picks here.
The AFC, all the AFC teams are decided. It's just the seeding that matters, and that game just tonight is what is the deal breaker. If Miami wins, they're the 2. If Buffalo wins, they're the 2. I think actually Pittsburgh is now locked in at 7.
Pittsburgh would be locked in at 7. You're correct.
Correct. So the winner, essentially, the winner tonight hosts Pittsburgh. The loser goes to Kansas City.
Who would you? All right. Who would you like to assume wins tonight? Because I'm leaning towards Miami.
I think Buffalo will win. Miami's a little banged up. I'm missing Mostert is not playing, and Waddle's not playing.
Okay, so we'll go with Buffalo. So Kansas City would then play Miami, which that's good. And Houston will play Cleveland no matter what.
No matter what.
So I'll start with yours. Buffalo or Pittsburgh?
Buffalo. The Steelers they're one of the worst playoff teams I've honestly ever seen. Truly. They're not. I don't know how they made it to 10-7. Honestly, I have no idea.
Kansas City or Miami?
Kansas City because of the home field advantage.
Houston or Cleveland?
Cleveland.
Thank you. Okay, so from this point on, Baltimore would play Cleveland.
Correct.
And we get KC Buffalo again. Buffalo or Kansas City? In
Buffalo.
Buffalo. Baltimore, Cleveland.
Cleveland.
Thank you. Buffalo, Cleveland.
Buffalo.
Okay. Mine's a little bit different because I'm picking
It
Miami
could
to
go.
win tonight.
I think.
Miami, Pittsburgh. I have to go Miami.
Okay.
Kansas City, Buffalo. I'm going
Pittsburgh is
Kansas
not.
City.
Pittsburgh's not going to win, no matter who they play.
No.
I'd be
Houston,
whatever.
Houston, Cleveland. I'm going Houston. Cleveland.
That
Cleveland.
was it.
Cleveland.
Okay.
Cleveland.
Okay.
I
Got
gotta
it.
get that right. Miami, Kansas City. I have to go with Kansas City. Baltimore would then play Cleveland again. I have to go Cleveland. And yes, the Cleveland Browns will beat the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead in the AFC title game. Am I frozen for you?
No.
No, okay, because I have all I see on the screen is my face, like, and it's not flattering. So
No, you're not. You're not frozen. You're good.
if I refresh it, will it end the stream?
It might.
It probably will. All right. This is not good. Did we take a risk or no?
Can you just edit the two pieces together later?
I don't want to because this is technically live. But
oh, it's live.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
I did not know that.
Oh well,
it does say live, but that can also mean it's like live to.
Yeah, true.
You can, if you want to refresh it. I mean, you can risk it.
Yeah, why not? That's good. All right.
Still live. Oh, there it goes.
Oh, that worked. Oh, that worked.
Yeah, I mean, it was just me, so I just shut the camera off because I was alone for like 10 seconds.
Wow, that worked. All right.
It worked. Yeah.
All right. So, NFC, we have Niners in the 1 seed. So, I am going to assume Packers are winning right now, right? Because if
they're winning 14-6.
All right. So, Packers win 14-6. Seahawks are up. But regardless, if Green Bay wins, they're in. Regardless.
Other games are irrelevant. Yes.
Okay. We're gonna assume Green Bay gets in as a 7.
Okay.
So that means we have Detroit and Green Bay. No, that's wrong. Cowboys are winning. Cowboys are gonna get the 2. We're gonna assume it's Dallas and Green Bay.
Nope. I think it would be. I think Green Bay would slide if the Rams are losing.
All right.
I want to run the stream again this week after the games have actually been decided.
I know the NFC's a mess. So
NFC's a mess.
Let's say Dallas wins.
Dallas will be 2.
Dallas
numbers 1 through 5 are going to be exactly what you think they will, because Dallas is not going to lose in the second half to Washington.
The Rams are losing right now.
The Rams are losing,
so they would slide to the 7, and Green Bay would slide to 6.
To 6.
Green Bay has the tiebreaker over LA, or do they not play?
They must have the tiebreaker somehow.
Okay.
I don't think they played. Let me check that though.
So Dallas.
Actually, they did play on November 5th. Green Bay won 20-3. That'll do it. Okay. But they would. So right now, Green Bay is 8-8, and the Rams are 9-7.
So Detroit would play Green Bay.
Correct.
That's a game. Bucks Eagles, as it stands right now.
I think the Eagles will win a very ugly game.
The Eagles win a very ugly game.
Yes. I mean, like 13-10, 16-13.
I agree.
Something like that. I think they'll pull it together to beat Tampa for one hideous, because Tampa's looked awful lately too. I mean, they just beat Carolina today 9-0 for a touchdown against the worst team in the NFL.
Dallas or LA?
Dallas.
I agree. Detroit or Green Bay?
Detroit.
Yeah. I also have Detroit. San Fran would then play Philly.
Yeah, you don't even have to ask me that one. That's a blowout.
Dallas, Detroit. Dallas.
That's
I have to pick Dallas.
Dallas at home. They finally break the spell of not making the NFC Championship, so then they can make the NFC Championship and get killed by San Francisco.
All right. Now that that's in, you have Buffalo, San Francisco in the Super Bowl.
Correct.
What is the final score of that game?
(24-17) Buffalo.
Wow.
That may change depending on how as of right now, I just think it's Buffalo went all in to win it. I think they finally do the Super Bowl.
I can't believe it, Buffalo.
It never goes the way you think it'll go.
I'm trying to think of a score.
Oh, there he goes. Brady should be back soon, I think.
Keeps doing that and it's driving me nuts. I am going to go with a score of 21-10. San Francisco over Cleveland.
That score happened before in the Super Bowl.
It's going to happen again.
Cleveland's sure you have no idea what Super Bowl that was in.
No, I don't. Cleveland's defense is good, but this is the best offense they'll face all year.
Yeah.
Cleveland's offense is decent. San Francisco's defense is scary. So I see them maybe with a last-second touchdown, but I think it's going to be, hey, Flacco, you had a good run. You know what I mean?
No, that's why I picked them to lose in the AFC Championship or possibly the round before.
I think that
Flacco will run out of steam at some point.
That defense is too good to not make the AFC Championship.
Yeah.
At least.
No, they're legit. I watched them in person.
So, but watch both of us be totally wrong.
This is coming from the guy who predicted that Duke football would be in the college football championship. So, I mean, what do I know about things?
You got any picks for Michigan, Washington tomorrow?
I think Michigan. Oh, there he goes again.
I heard Michigan.
There's very rarely an upset in the college football playoffs.
Did you give a score or just Michigan?
I did not give a score. Okay. But it's impossible to give a score really in the college football.
Very true. Yeah. But I'm going to do it anyway. Upsets are not likely. However,
you think Washington's going to win?
Washington will beat Michigan 45-35.
I would say I'd give it 34-20 Michigan.
Here's my thing, right?
Yeah.
Michael Penix Jr., and I will advocate for that kid for as long as I live. Michael Penix Jr. got robbed of the Heisman Trophy.
I agree.
Daniels, he's all right, but you got to factor what he did with his team. LSU was in the ReliaQuest Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Penix is fighting for a national championship. They're both on their second schools. Jaden Daniels was at Kansas. Now he's at LSU. Michael Penix was at Indiana. Now he's at Washington. Michael Penix Jr. has statistically been the best passer this season. Not as good of a runner as Daniels. I understand that. Daniels' strength is in his legs. But to come back from an ACL injury like Penix did in this way, you're fighting Jim Harbaugh, J.J. McCarthy, and Blake Corum for a national championship Monday night in Houston, Texas. I can see obviously where people are picking Michigan.
I just pulled up
I'm just
the list.
saying, since that whole Connor Stalions thing came out, they haven't been the same team. I'm just saying. I buy it all. Everyone's saying, no, it's a conspiracy. No, it's not. They stole signs. Everybody does it. I agree with that. Everybody does it. You just got caught. Wah, wah. Cry about it.
That's why they play the game.
That's why they play the game.
But I will say,
Washington by 10 tomorrow.
in the history of the college football playoff championship, is the 10th one. I just pulled up the list
Let's read it.
of who. So, how well do you know the history of the college football playoff?
All right.
How many times do you think the lower seeded team
Just one.
has
3.
won? Do we want to count 2 beating a 1 as a lower seed? I guess in this circumstance it would be
3. Bama did it one year. I think
6.
Ohio State 6.
So
Wow.
Ohio State.
I know
won the
Ohio
original-
State did it the first year.
There were 4. Oregon was 2.
Yep.
Then it was out 2 beating a 1. Alabama beat Clemson, and then 2 Clemson beat 1 Alabama.
Yep.
And then 4 Alabama beat 3 Georgia.
That's what I was thinking of.
2 Clemson beat 1 Alabama. And then we had LSU 1 as a 1, Alabama 1 as a 1. Georgia technically was the 3, but they were kind of favored in that one against Alabama.
Yeah, but you still gotta. Doesn't matter what the lines say. I mean, just look at the numbers. But
And then last year, you don't need to get into details about that one.
Yeah.
That was really bad.
Yeah. I've been a Bama fan since kindergarten. And I believe that they should have gotten into the playoff. No, I don't.
That team that should have been Florida State, and they should have lost 56-10 to Michigan.
However, the committee got it right. You can argue, and I know that sounded like 2 contradicting statements, but hear me out, right? Brady Kudo, the fan, the human, wanted Florida State to get in because they're an undefeated conference champion. However, Brady Kudo, the commentator, thinks that the committee got it right. Now, I understand there would not have been as many opt-outs. I think Florida State had close to 20 players opt out of the bowl.
Correct, and that was why it was 63-3.
Honestly, I don't know if it was some sort of weird protest.
It was protest mostly,
which is dumb because you're only hurting your case. That's just my opinion. You know, you want to protest, play the game, win, and then prove to the committee, why you should have been there. That's just my opinion.
No matter what the committee did, they'd be scrutinized.
Of course.
No matter
Can't
what.
make everyone happy.
In my opinion, the best out of the teams that were on the bubble, the best team out of all of them was probably Georgia, even though they lost to Alabama one game.
Not And even when Bama got in when they weren't a conference champion, I was critical.
Yeah.
You cannot have a team that did not win their conference championship game in the college football playoff. That's just my opinion.
TCU lost it last year and got in anyway.
I understand.
Um,
And I was not in favor of them.
right. I think.
Now, granted, that was their one loss.
That was the
So I think there's some leeway there, right? Where if your one loss is to the conference championship is in your conference championship game, and the team that you lost to finished the year at 9-3, okay, fine, get in. However, if Georgia were to get in as opposed to Alabama, I would be more upset over that because you're not a conference champion. Yes, your one loss was at the conference championship game. But, sometimes there are the people that say, who are the 4 best teams in America? And I say, yes. However, we all know that the system is getting a long overdue change where every Power 4 team will get in. It's so weird not saying Power 5.
Pac-12 still exists, though. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, but does it? It doesn't. Oregon State and Washington State are playing in the Mountain West for football and the West Coast Conference for basketball. So what is the Power 5 now? Does the American get the promotion? Like, I don't, I don't know. I don't know how I don't know now that the Pac-12 is gone. I don't know how the new system works.
That's not my expertise area. So
I could Google it, but the point is that I felt for Florida State. I think people took it to the extreme with government officials and individuals wanting to take out lawsuits on the college football playoff committee members and ESPN and whoever else. I mean, that's a little extreme. I mean, for God's sakes, it's football. But at the same time, you got to look, how would have Florida State done in the college football playoff against Michigan? How, when they went to Pasadena, California, how would they have done? The answer is simple. It would have been 80-0 at the half.
Yeah. So I think
even with everybody playing, Jordan Travis isn't there, guys.
No.
You're not. Florida, it's not going to be close.
I think the committee knew that too.
Committee got it right.
If Florida State got in, that would have been the morally right thing to do because they hadn't lost. But there would not have been a single person outside of Tallahassee that actually would have picked them to beat Michigan in that game.
No.
There's just no way.
I agree.
And I think Florida State would have gotten in had TCU not lost 65-7 last year. I think
you got a point.
TCU kind of set the precedence for, hey, this is a really good upstart team. How they beat Michigan, I have no idea last year.
Why they play the game, my friend?
But last year, leading up to that national championship game, I'm sure you would have rather seen TCU win. That's a great story. In practice, did anyone actually pick them to win? Did anyone realistically think that San Diego State would beat UConn in the men's championship for college basketball? They're taking in now. College basketball is a little different, but if TCU had performed better last year, I think Florida State would have gotten in. But they saw the writing on the wall for this, because there have been some, in the history of the college football playoff, there have been some I would categorize as not great teams that have made it. Like, did you know that Michigan State made the college football playoff once?
Yes.
And they got shut out.
Yes.
Washington, before this year, was in it once before.
2016, I think.
They got killed.
Yes, they did.
And to give them credit, people are all up in the arms, then Cincinnati made it in, but Cincinnati actually played respectable against Alabama.
Cincinnati played respectable against Alabama. They played quality opponents, undefeated, good team. Like NFL, not every
But
D1 team that's good has NFL talent on
it,
it.
it was a matter of time until what happened to TCU happened to them, and it's setting the precedent. Now it's going to change because it's going to be 12 teams, but here's another example of like a really good, feel-good team that rightfully earned a berth in a large bowl, and look what happened with Liberty.
Yeah,
They're
I'm kind of surprised about that. To be
I'm
totally
surprised
honest,
too, but they had a great year. They were rewarded with that, and I think the point spread on that one was the largest ever in a bowl game, or like a major
yes,
bowl game. I believe it was like a 24-point spread or something like that,
yeah,
which
it
was
was
matched
ridiculous.
45-6.
All right, so I am looking at.
Okay.
So this is what a 12-team. I think this is right. I just want to make sure this is right. Start
Can I just
rambling.
to
Yeah, go ahead.
confirm what you're looking at?
Yeah.
Essentially, what the 12 team does is that the current format for the top 4 teams all get a bye in the first round.
Correct.
So then the 12 and the 5 would play, just like NCAA basketball. 11 and the 6, the 7 and the 10, and the 8 and the 9. But I don't think it reseeds after that.
All right.
Meaning,
So here's how it works.
yeah,
This is right off of NCAA.com. The new 12-team college football playoff field includes the 6 highest-ranked conference champions.
automatically.
So automatically. So every year, right, it's going to be the ACC, the SEC, the Big Ten, the Big 12. The American, and one more. Conference USA, Sun Belt,
Mountain West.
Mountain West. From that point out, it's the 6 highest ranked teams in the final college football playoff poll to round out the final 6 slots. If we had a 12 team this year, let me find it. All right, it would look like this: Michigan, Washington, Texas, Alabama, buys.
Unchanged. Florida State would be 5 then.
Florida State would be 5.
Georgia would be 6.
Let me find this. All right, here we go. This is 110% accurate. Florida State would play Liberty. Winner would play Alabama. Penn State would play Ohio State.
It's a good game.
Winner would play Washington. That would be a great game. Georgia would play Ole Miss. Winner would play Texas. Oregon would play Missouri. Winner would play Michigan. You go on from there. Heck. Is this actually... Hold on. No, this isn't right. Because it's the 6 highest ranked conference champions. So you have the Power 5. Oh, wait, no, this is right. This is right.
I think it's hypothetical, but we have an idea about what it would be.
Yeah. Wow, that'd be a... I think the semifinal at a neutral site, or is it just the final? Do you know that?
Probably the semifinals and the final.
I think the semifinal and the final. I think it just said it. Let me look again, just to make sure.
The final definitely is a neutral site.
Yeah. First round would take place at either the home field of the higher seeded team or another site. So, example, and I'll throw this out there if they're smart. If TCU were to miraculously be a top 6 seed, or a top. Well, yeah, really anything, or yeah, top 8 for that first game. You play at AT&T Stadium if you can.
Yeah.
100,000 seating, plus 25,000. You can have you could pack 125,000 people into that place. That's why the Cowboys are so good at home, because they have cheap standing room only tickets, and it just packs more people in. Top ranked team from that point out would host 4 quarterfinal games and 2 playoff semifinal games will be played in bowl games. So, for example, next year the quarterfinals would be Fiesta, Peach, Rose, and Sugar. Semifinals would be Cotton and Orange, and then those just rotate.
Yeah, there's a rotation
So
with those.
quarterfinal, semifinal, and final are at a neutral site. Just the first round is at home,
Yeah.
which
Makes sense.
is good. Yeah, it
Yeah.
makes sense. I'm excited. It's going to do so much good for the sport. From the business side, from obviously the game itself, the TV side, everything. It's moving in a positive direction. I think it'll draw a bigger audience as well. So that's that. What do you make of Derek White as an all-star? Because I like it.
I'm not following the NBA. He's having a great year.
Great year.
He plays on the best team in the conference, but the only thing I would say that would be a detriment to him is how many of his other teammates are also making it. Because Tatum is for sure on it. Are you going to put Brown
I would put
on
Brown.
the All-Star team? You going to put Porzingis on it? No. Okay, so that's the other one that.
I put 3. Yeah, the Brown too.
Yeah, they're like a victim of their own success. Some players,
which
I mean, not a bad.
I think they all have the goal of I'd rather win a championship than
somebody that should be on the All-Star team, but probably won't, is Cade Cunningham, because he's playing out of his mind on a terrible team. I've invested time into the Pistons this year, as you know. That I can place a wager right now for them to. I streamed last week a Pistons game just to watch it.
Legally or illegally?
I won't answer that question. Against. They're against the Nets. So imagine my surprise when I open up to watch and it's Ian Eagle calling the game. Because he's the Nets play-by-play guy. I didn't know
Nets
that.
on Yes for over 20 years.
Yeah, I never watched Nets games, so he was good. So the Pistons won, and they lost 3 in a row. They're sitting at 3-32, which, if you're wondering, would be the worst winning percentage ever. The second worst winning percentage ever would go to the current San Antonio Spurs, who are 5-30. Charlotte, I think the Bobcats. I gotta see what.
Isn't it truly amazing? The gap between the good and the bad teams in the NBA.
So the Bobcats. Let me confirm this.
Bobcats.
If you want, so the Pistons currently have a .086 winning percentage. The 2012 Charlotte Bobcats, which was a strike shortened year, they only played 66 games.
Yep.
2011 to 2012 went 7-59.
Oh, good lord! Who was on that team?
.106.
I want to find out who the best player on that team was. So
Gerald Henderson.
Oh dear lord, who?
I'm gonna look at who their
All right, that's this. All right, you want to talk about creepy? I typed in 2011-12. First suggested result that pops up on Google is Charlotte Bobcats. They're listening to you.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
watching you.
they know.
They know.
Points per game. Their points per game leader was Gerald Henderson. Oh, here's something for you.
Oh,
Kemba
Bismack Biyombo was on this team.
Kemba Walker was on that team.
Kemba Walker, Corey Maggot, Reggie Williams. I've heard of some of these guys. Paul Silas was the head coach. His son Steven was the assistant, former Rockets head coach, currently an assistant with the Detroit Pistons. This guy's got a knack for losing teams. Good Lord. Yeah. They drafted Biyombo and Kemba Walker with the
That was
7th and the
Kemba
9th.
Walker's rookie year, yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah, because UConn just won the championship that year.
Yeah.
That's when they beat Butler. It was Kemba Walker's year. And then 3 years later, whatever it was I don't remember who their ringleader was that year. He played in the NBA. Napier, Shaziz
Oh, Napier. Shabazz.
Napier, yeah.
I think his name is, yeah.
But Kemba was the big reason because that UConn team was unranked to start the year.
Yeah. I mean, college basketball now, I mean, it's so unpredictable. You've got, I love it because you've got a team like FAU who can't beat Bryant, but they can beat Arizona.
It's a matter of
Arizona's
time
backyard
until
Palm Springs, California.
Like FAU, a team like FAU is going to win it within the next few years. It's
really,
I think college basketball is becoming more. I'm not going to say it's anybody's.
absolutely.
This is another, like this year, I would say that the best teams are a little bit more concrete than they were last year. I remember you and I looked at that bracket last year and we're like, this is anybody's. And none of the number one seeds even made it to the Elite Eight, as you know. But I
we
would
had like
say
an hour and a half. We had an hour and a half preview. I had the tournament up, and we literally just went through.
like this year,
we had winning, but it certainly wasn't UConn.
It's probably UConn. Maybe I don't know.
No, I'm saying
like this year
when we were picking, I said I forget who we picked, but it was not UConn.
Yeah.
You
mean you didn't have San Diego State
versus FAU? I think I had honestly. I think I had UConn bounce in the first week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had Iona beating UConn.
UConn has a really good chance of repeating this year.
If Klingon can get healthy in time, then yes.
Yeah, like this year, you can fight me on this. I don't think there's much of an argument that the top three teams are UConn, Purdue, Kansas. It was Arizona. They've kind of slid a little bit.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know who's going to win it. I mean, everyone says Purdue. They're like, this is the year. And it's like, guys, you've said that for 4 years. This year's the year for Purdue.
Well, the logic was Virginia lost to a 16th seed and won it the next year, which happened.
But they say every year, Purdue. And like, y'all haven't been right once. Matt Painter cannot coach in big games. He's proven it time and time again. Every time they're the number one ranked team in the country, it lasts about 4 days.
That's why
honestly,
they play the tournament.
Honestly, do you know who I think is going to win it all? It's the North Carolina Tar Heels.
Yeah, whenever you're not expecting them to make a run is when they usually do it.
I think the North. I watched them play Clemson. It's a good basketball team. It's an experienced basketball team. That's a very good 3-point shooting team.
I'm so
defensively.
I actually
2
years ago, The only time I've ever done that. I don't really fill out the bracket much in advance because I don't know enough about college basketball to do it. 2 years ago was the only time I've ever actually correctly picked the national championship before the tournament began.
Real good
I
on you.
I had it as Kansas, North Carolina. I actually had that. I actually had 3 of the Final 4 teams picked correctly, so I was in the top, like, 1% of the country. The only
Yeah, it is.
one I didn't have was Villanova.
Yeah.
I didn't have Villanova, but I had Kansas picked. The only difference is I had North Carolina winning it over Kansas. Um, but that is by far the best I've ever done in a bracket.
That's not easy. I mean, I just talked about Matt Painter and big games, and yes, he had a big game on Friday. A top 10 Illinois final score 83-78. Say, said Matt Painter can't call games. You're right, I did. Because Purdue once had a 20 lead in that game. They were up 47-32 at the half. I would like to find their biggest lead of the day. Their largest lead was 21 points. Their largest lead was 21 points. Now, granted, Illinois did not lead. Purdue once had, and they ended up winning it by 5. Matt Painter got my bet of his teeth. And blowing a 21-point lead often ends up in a loss. Just saying. Seton Hall has looked great. I mean, they've beat 2 top 25 teams this week. 23rd ranked Providence. Marquette. North Carolina, yeah, they beat Clemson by 10. They beat Clemson by 10. Baycott looks great. Really showed up in the second half. James Madison lost. No more unbeatens. But yeah, North Carolina, probably the best bet for me right now.
So the most updated bracketology has the top 4 as Purdue, UConn, Houston, Kansas.
Okay.
Number 2 seeds is just not setting this in any particular order. Marquette, Kentucky, Tennessee, Arizona. Anything else you want to know while I have it up?
Give me the 3 and 4. The 3s and the 4s, and then where they have Providence.
3s, Clemson, North Carolina, BYU, Illinois.
It's a fun team.
I
I watched a little
4
bit of them last night.
seeds,
Cincinnati. That's a fun team.
FAU, Memphis,
Yep.
Wisconsin, Fort Wayne.
What? Say that again?
I just wanted to see. I want your reaction. They have Fort Wayne as a 14.
What? Fort Wayne? Purdue Fort Wayne?
No,
They're like
it's
bottom of the horizon.
no. There were 14, but I just wanted to see. I know you'd react to it when I said that. It's Duke. It's not Fort Wayne. It's Duke.
So it's
Duke's
Duke.
the
All
other
right,
14.
I'm sorry. Say that again. So it's Duke, FAU, Wisconsin,
And Memphis.
and Memphis. Yeah, Memphis isn't bad this year. I'm really surprised. Providence is a 10.
9.
Now they'll drop.
They have Providence right now as a 9.
They'll drop 2 and 11.
They have Providence playing Nevada in the bracketology.
Winner playing
Houston versus the play-in game.
That's the second round exit. Because they can beat Nevada. Yeah. Nevada's good. But
other notable teams, Michigan State is a 7. San Diego State is a 6. Villanova is a 6. Roll Tide is also a 6. Baylor is a 5.
That sounds right.
I just saw Drexel on here. I read that as DePaul, who's always terrible. I know.
I'm gonna say,
Uh,
I mean, they the
James
Big
Madison,
East, the Big
they
East
have
has to seriously consider kicking them out of the conference.
yeah. I know they're not ever good. They have James Madison as a 10
Yeah, the
playing
Dukes,
Michigan State.
the Dukes.
Yeah, it's about nearly things of note, I suppose. You got any other sports you want to talk about, or think are just about good here?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think I heard the Sox were in on another Japanese pitcher. I don't think they'll get him.
No,
Emogo, I think Shota Emogo.
no, but I like the
Which I don't,
trade of getting rid of Sale for Grissom.
and that kid isn't bad,
No, I told you that when the
supposedly.
trade came through.
Yeah,
He just hasn't had a lot of experience at the big league level, just because he's been kind of blocked by all-star players. Because they signed, so the Braves' idea is they were going to play him at shortstop, um, but then Arcia unexpectedly had an all-star season, so then there was
yeah,
no. Grissom though was the when they lost the NLCS to the Phillies, he was the guy who was at the plate with the season on the line. So like some poor managing led to that point. Like he's the one who struck out in the Phillies advance because of it. But I'm like, you don't want to
okay,
put someone like this who hadn't had a bat since August or whatever in that
yeah.
situation.
That's bad on Snicker. Yeah,
Yeah, but they'll
but
have
I mean,
no. He'll.
I don't have any good.
I was gonna say I like it. I think he's an upgrade from Arroyo at second. Um, we'll see how it plays out. But I mean, I think you're looking at another, at best, average season of Red Sox baseball this
Yeah,
year. At best, they're going to be 500.
unless Breslow can make magic happen, and I don't see that coming.
I think they can either re-sign Turner or get JD Martinez back. That should help.
I would like to see them get them both,
Yeah,
but I don't see that happening.
I mean, you're banking on Casas turning the page this year. You're banking on Connor
Yeah.
Wong turning the page at catcher, and then, Jesus, I don't even know who they have.
That's about it, to be totally honest.
They got Devers still.
Tyler O'Neill, who I mean,
Tyler
I've
O'Neill.
always liked.
I remember telling him
He'll
about
be
you before he was even traded to the Red Sox.
he should be a 2040 guy.
They got Duran. So your outfield right now, that RotoChamp doesn't even have a third outfielder. They just have
Oh, for
Duran
God's sake.
and O'Neill because nobody else even meets the the metrics to qualify. And then everybody else. I said O'Neill gets hurt a lot. I'll put this on the record for everyone to see. I know I told you. Google this guy. He has the biggest biceps I've ever seen out of a baseball player. The dude is built like an NFL like linebacker. And you know this. I'm not even kidding. The dude is unbelievably ripped.
Yeah.
Like he,
Yeah. Yeah. You're right.
but I'm looking. looking at this lineup like, oh boy, okay.
I mean, just remember, you could be an Athletics fan.
Well, yeah. I'm gonna try to go to a game this year.
An A's
An
game?
A's game. I want to go to the Coliseum.
Let me know when you leave.
You gonna come with me?
The price is right.
It's this is the last year you'd ever have an opportunity to do it.
Yeah, because where are they going after this year? Because the stadium's not going to be done in time.
They'll probably just go to they can punt a minor league team out because they got the stock. So it's a single A team, but the Stockton Ports play nearby.
Yeah.
They can. Sacramento has a triple A team.
Who's their AAA affiliate?
I think it's Sacramento.
Because I know Vegas. Who does Vegas belong to? Because I know Vegas has a AAA team.
Let me look. Oh, actually, it's the A's. So Sacramento must be the Giants' AAA team.
So I mean, yeah. I mean, the A's could play.
They have the Las Vegas Aviators.
Yep.
Stockton Ports are, low A. That would not be feasible. But then again, for the people that show up to A's games, it actually would.
Listen, Vegas is. I mean, it's slowly becoming a sports city.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Knights obviously winning the Stanley Cup. The Aces winning the WNBA title. The Raiders are the Raiders.
They'll get
Horrible franchise.
no. They'll get
I don't know why I do that to myself. I really don't.
Well,
They were winning. They were beating Denver. 1 week too late.
we'll see expansion to 32 MLB teams. And now Vegas would get the A's, but a new team I think is going to come in and go to Oakland. Same thing with like basketball. I think it's a matter of time until you see an NBA team will go to Vegas, and somebody will take over, become the Sonics again, and then to even up the conferences, they'll do what they did to Detroit and punt somebody that's vaguely not totally West Coast of the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
Like the New Orleans Pelicans or the Memphis Grizzlies would probably get punted to the East.
I would think the Grizzlies would
go to the East. That's what my guess is.
Well,
lots of things to think about.
Yeah,
they can talk this week, and the actual playoff bracket is set for the NFL. But all these hypotheticals that we talked about are.
Yeah, I mean,
Buffalo, Miami is the only one that's
the most likely, and then Buffalo, Miami is the big one, and then we both went different ways on it. So
yeah,
I got that there. Any last minute thoughts for you before I get into a couple things about anything at all?
At all.
Doesn't have to be sports related.
Not a ton.
Not a ton.
Not a ton that I can think that's worth mentioning on here. I hope that the college football championship is not a blowout. And that's about my wish list. And I'd like to see a team not from a power conference win the NCAA basketball tournament.
I like it.
Because I think I told you this. Since 1985, do you know how many non-power conference teams have ever won the tournament?
Power conference being Power 5 and Big East?
Correct. How many times has a team not from one of those conferences ever won, not appeared in the championship, but actually won it?
Yeah.
This is hard. It's greater than
Yeah.
0.
Yes. UNLV had it.
I'll stop you.
Wichita.
I'll stop you right there. That's it. That's it. It's UNLV. That's the
Oh,
only.
that is it.
That's
All
it.
right.
That's
I
it.
was honestly, I was going to say one, and I think it was
That's
UNLV in
it.
'91.
Because we've seen Horizon League. Butler went twice. They were the Big East. Now they're Horizon League at the time. And last year was San Diego State, Mountain West. Regardless of who won between FAU and San Diego State, we're going to have the same situation.
Yep.
So you've seen it. I want to see a team from a conference like that win it within the next 5 years.
Like at Purdue Fort Wayne.
Like if Fort Wayne goes on. St. Peter's.
IUPUI.
St. Peter's went to
UMaine.
UMaine.
Listen, and I want to give him a shout out, and I got to get him on. I got to get him on here at some point. Well, two people. I'm going to give a shout out to Chris Vosters on behalf of Tyler Clark, because Chris Vosters now holds the title of Tyler Clark's favorite play-by-play man.
Chris Vosters, if you have not heard him, Blackhawks announcer, you agree with me. He is the best I have heard.
I'd like to give a shout out, and we're both frozen now, which is great. So we're going to try this.
You're not frozen to me.
Well, you've been frozen, honestly, on my thing for a little bit, so hold on.
I wasn't frozen. At least not on my end, I wasn't.
Yeah, that's better. All right. I'd like to give a shout out to my good friend Rob Kennedy. Rob and I did that game at Dartmouth College together. Rob's play-by-play voice for Dartmouth College men's and women's hockey. Rob is also the lead play-by-play voice for high school athletics on WHOU out in Southern Maine. Rob got to do the main event, high school basketball tournament at the Cross Insurance Arena in Portland, Maine, this past weekend. Got to watch Cooper Flagg play. Here's a fragment of the exchange we had Friday night, Cooper's first game. I said, "Hey, bud, how good is Cooper Flagg in person?" He responded 3 minutes later, "Holy expletive, unbelievable." I said, "LOL, I figured you'd say that. Happy for you got to call that event." He said, "Yeah, I'd say it's one of the biggest sporting events in the history of the state. Great experience, great time, great crew, whatever." So I want to give a shout out to Rob for that funny little exchange I read at Jillian Sports Pub on Friday night. And I'm happy for him that he got to watch the future #1 overall pick in the NBA draft play in high school. So there's still time for Cooper to, commit to UMaine and pack, a 6,000 seat arena every night. Just saying, Coop. Providence College would also love to have you. Can you imagine Joe Sonson on, the Fall River native who it was a 5-star recruit, plays at the Vermont Academy. The kid from Brockton, AJ, I struggle with his last name, also plays prep, is going to be the #1 overall pick, many believe, in a couple of years. Debonsa is his last name. So AJ Debonsa currently attends Prolific Prep, was born in Brockton, Mass., went to St. Sebastian's in Needham before transferring to Prolific Prep. Imagine those two, right? Coop and AJ and Joe Son on all on the three. Providence would win a national championship, probably multiple national championships. Of course, the Sports Saga podcast, week in and week out, is brought to you by Aldius Electric, the Gonzalez family team of Keller Williams, Southwood Topaz, Mac Apparel, the official fan gear of the Saga, and Epic Promotions. Thursday, 4 o'clock on the LEC network, I've got UMass Dartmouth Hockey. They're taking on Fitchburg State, 4 o'clock Eastern time from Hetland Arena. I'll be posting about how to watch info, if you will. In a couple months, we'll be ready for our base and softball coverage on Swansea Community Network and right here on the Saga. So looking forward to that. Keegan Hamlet wishes everyone well. He was at Gillette Stadium today.
That sounds terrible.
Which I don't know why, and I didn't get a clear answer from him.
Well,
He said
tickets
the
are
tickets were
about.
$30. I said, but why would you do that to yourself? He said,
Get
I
ripped off
enjoy
with
going.
it.
I said, all right, enjoy watching them lose. I don't know. He called a thriller of a hockey game the other day. Somerset Berkeley taking on DRS. 6-4 was the final score. It was So I'm jealous. He always gets those shootouts. Always, like, he did the Somerset Berkeley Apponequet football game this past November, and the point total was 100. It was 55-45. That was the final score, and it was back and forth all game. And I gotta say, in the times like that, I will admit, jealousy. My jealousy of Keegan Hamlet increases. So, as always, thank you, Tyler Clark, for hopping on. Thanks to everyone who tuned in. We'll see you soon.